There's a lot of things going wild in this country right at this moment, and there's a fight between good and evil. Epstein files being released is one really interesting example of that, and it's definitely a bright light on all of the evils that have been, well, Epstein was on Rockefeller's payroll. If that doesn't say anything, I don't know what will. This has me getting involved a lot more than what I was expecting to when I first kind of created this whole thing. My values are not new to me, but politics kind of is. I see a lot of confused people today. One of the things that I feel compelled to do is speak the truth, research the truth, and try to provide as objective as an answer for many of the questions that I have around politics and the government as I possibly can, this being one of them. If politics is relatively new to you, or you're looking at getting involved, definitely don't show up to a riot, because that is the wrong way to represent this country. But let's discover this together. Join me on the journey of essentially unfolding what the government was supposed to look like, how it's changed, and different things that we can do with our First Amendments, actually all of our amendments, to make sure that our country doesn't go south, and understanding why America is so different. Let's dive into it. First question I really have is, what is politics and why should we care about it? So politics, by definition, is the activities associated with the governance of a country or other area, especially the debate or conflict among individuals or parties having or hoping to achieve power. So what this tells me is the main focus is one group or person has power, and there's a debate or conflict between parties that wants to achieve power. So one has power, one wants to achieve power there, or both have power and they either have a conflict or a discussion or disagreement to come together to achieve more power or maintain power. Second definition is activities within an organization that are aimed at improving someone's status or position and are typically considered to be devious or divisive. Well, we definitely have a lot of that in general. Playing politics has not exactly been something that I've wanted to do, but now I see that I almost have no other choice if I want this world and America to be better from this moment forward, especially for the next generation, for my kids, for their kids. And if we don't get involved in politics, then the other power that has no regard for freedom of speech, peaceful congregation, bearing arms, judicial systems, actual processes to protect rights and not just take them. So at this point, we can't ignore it. And there's some things that definitely should not go unsaid. So I'm just a small voice in a huge ocean. But something that Matt Morse has said is, if enough small voices like ourselves get involved and start speaking truth or keep speaking truth, the larger that ripple may become across the entire expanse of the ocean. So why should you care about politics? Well, if you're new to it, I could understand also why you would be trying to avoid it up until now, or not totally understand it and the relevancy of it outside of emotions. That we have a lot of conflict in the world. We have a lot of conflict in this nation. A huge conflict going on right now has to do with immigration. Another huge conflict has to do with fraud. We work hard as Americans to earn a living and earn what we get. And there's a lot of people coming in entitled that would like to take that from those that have worked hard for it. They're getting free benefits. They're establishing organizations, getting funding, laundering millions of dollars. There's folks that have been running this system, and it's no surprise. You're probably already aware of several of that. And it's no hiding it anymore. There's no more gaslighting. especially if you do your own research. Understanding these conflicts and being able to have a conversation instead of, oh, like these kind of clips where hormonal high schoolers are allowed to beat the out of teachers, bystanders, people of other pigments without consequence. These things are not okay. That's not democracy. That is a huge problem. To allow that to continue, and along with the First Amendment comes the consequences, whether positive or negative. Positive meaning adding something to, or negative meaning taking away something. This all matters. It should matter to all of us, especially if we care about our freedoms. If we don't exercise and seek to protect these freedoms, and we just, well, as unpopular as this is going to sound, just turn the other cheek and lay down as martyrs and die to the powers coming in to take over, we will have wasted nearly 300 years worth of effort and freedom that people, my neighbors, have fought for and died for people to just turn the other cheek and die in the roads. Now, that could be interpreted any which way. However, something that's really missing is critical thinking and a connection to the worth and value of those freedoms of everyone who's a United States of America citizen. This matters. Diversity matters. Legal immigrants matter, and they care about this topic probably way more and way more logically because they know the Constitution. I'd like to argue, based on what I'm observing and seeing and have experienced, having lived on the West Coast for a period of my life, living in the middle of the country for a period of my life, being all over this country for periods of my life, having friends that are legal immigrants, knowing more about the Constitution than many other Americans is a fact. And many of them lean a little bit more on the conservative side. This is kind of interesting. Well, it took a lot of work for them to get here. And from the situations they've been in and what they're coming from, it is better. But it's not a walk in the park. It was quite the process, especially considering the communist parties that they came and moved from, where they had no freedom of speech, no freedom of TikTok, no freedom of bearing arms or any of that. Here, they can protect their freedoms and they can protect our freedoms. In fact, you see a lot of them signing up to get involved with law enforcement and immigration control and enforcing our freedoms here. While they might not be able to run for president, they're making a whole lot bigger impact. Something kind of interesting that I observed. Some people would rather avoid conflict at such level that they'd rather mess with the livelihood and the careers of somebody else just for speaking truth, just for calling them out for being a jerk, just for calling them out, seeing what's going on with their own political agenda, mind you, and using that politically behind the scenes to backstab those people, rather than actually debate or have a democracy about what's up. That's pretty jacked up. But people would rather take those politics and apply that to the rest of politics. Well, if you don't agree with me, we'll castrate you, we'll change you, we'll give you drugs, we'll kill you, we'll make you homeless. All of that. That's not right. That's not okay. If you got value from this, subscribe, because I have a whole lot more questions. I have a whole lot more content in play, and I just so happen to make music about this that's leaning a little bit more on the patriotic side. If you're into that kind of thing, stick around, check it out, check out the details in the description below. Stay tuned.